Welcome back to Mr. Orth's Flipped Classroom for Grammar. A look for ninth graders at kinds of clauses. First, a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. An independent clause is a clause that can be used by itself. It's a complete sentence. It doesn't need to be attached to anything else in order to work. Whereas a dependent or subordinate clause is a clause that cannot be used by itself. Oftentimes it's going to begin with a subordinate conjunction or relative pronoun. Typically it's that or one of the W's used in a declarative sentence, not necessarily in a question. How do we find these? The steps haven't changed that much. We're just going to add a little bit to them. First, always find the verbs. All the verbs. Because you find one doesn't mean you're done. Ask who or what followed by the verb. The one-word answer to this question should be the simple subject. Remember to repeat this for each verb. Look for subordinate conjunctions, words like because, if, or relative pronouns, such as that, who, how, which, when, and where. V is signal the start of a subordinate clause. First example, Raina and David walked to the car. So what's the verb? Walked. Who or what walked? Raina and David. In this sentence, because there's only one verb and there are subjects for it, doesn't matter if there's one or more than one subject, but it's only one verb, it's one clause, an independent clause. No conjunction starts the sentence, so we're going to look at this as being an independent clause, and that's that. A compound subject does not make something into a compound sentence, which we'll talk about more in upcoming lessons. Second example, because they couldn't find the car, they had to walk home. The verb, when we have could find, had to walk. The N', the not, is actually an adverb, and technically it's not part of the verb. Who or what could find? They. Who or what had to walk? They. But please note that they is written each time for that verb phrase. So we have two verb phrases with subjects matching, so two clauses. One has because in front of it, and because makes this into a dependent clause or subordinate clause. One doesn't. They had to walk home is just fine with a comma in front of it. It could have been a sentence by itself, so it's an independent clause. When you do the practice, if you think of a subordinate clause, write down the word that makes that clause subordinate. That's subordinate conjunction or relative pronoun. If you're not sure, odds are pretty good you haven't identified whether or not there's a word in front of it that is or is not making it into a subordinate clause. Good hunting.